Now, I pointed out yesterday, and I will again today, that this is a long report that has only just been provided. I understand not even everybody at the Assembly has a copy of the report. And it does contemplate some extremely serious action. Very, very serious action. The recommendation here is to suspend the Métis Nation of Ontario and to set a whole series of conditions. Yesterday at the Board of Governors, I pointed to many errors in the portion of the report that was read out yesterday and again this morning by President Chartier. And we still actually even haven't had a chance to fully review the document. I pointed out several errors and misstatements that I think could have been clarified had President Chartier bothered to talk with the Métis Nation of Ontario at any point in his investigation or when he was preparing his report. So I'm going to address those concerns and explain to the Assembly who the Métis Nation of Ontario is and what we've done. The Métis Nation of Ontario, as a Métis government, has been advancing a rights-based agenda for the last quarter of a century. We came together in 1993 with many Métis peoples and communities that made the decision to walk away from pan-Aboriginal associations that did not provide space to advance the rights and interests of Métis people. Since 1993, we have been built on a foundation of Métis as a distinct people with a distinct culture, history, language, territory, and way of life. This priority and these principles are embedded in our Métis Nation of Ontario Statement of Prime Purpose, which sets out our commitment to advance the Métis Nation, Métis rights, and it includes to continue our affiliation with the Métis National Council for the representation of the interests of the Métis Nation in Ontario at the national and international levels. And for the last 25 years, we have worked with Métis Nation governments across the homeland to advance our collective rights, our goals, and our priorities, and to fight for the rights and the recognition of the Métis Nation and of Section 35 rights. I spoke yesterday at the Board of Governors about the fact that it was the Métis Nation of Ontario that took on the Powley case to advance the rights of recognition of rights of Métis peoples. We continue to advance that case with the entire Powley family, the Sault Ste. Marie region, and all of that on behalf of the Section 35 rights of all Métis. And let's be clear on what was stated in the Powley decision. The term Métis in Section 35 does not encompass all individuals with mixed Indian and European heritage. Rather, it refers to distinctive peoples who, in addition to their mixed ancestry, develop their own customs, way of life, and recognizable group identities separate from their Indian or Inuit and European forebears. Métis communities evolved and flourished prior to the entrenchment of European control, when the influence of European settlers and political institutions became preeminent. And when we are talking about Powley, and we're talking about what the test in Powley means, it explicitly says that we are not talking about mixed ancestry. That case took an enormous toll on the Powley family. And in fact, arguably, I think it probably took Steve Powley's life. Just as other governments have had to do, we advanced the Powley case with very limited resources. It was an enormous financial burden on the Métis Nation of Ontario that took many, many years to overcome. But we took it for the right reasons, and it has benefited all of us. Every Métis government has benefited from the Powley decision, and it's been a very good thing for our people. To finally have